Let the cooking begin. I choose you.
Hello and welcome to I Choose You, the podcast about cooking and eating Pokemon. My name's Jeremy Zielik. I'm the host and Alton Brown of the group. Joining me this week, as always, is...
Ben Montoya, the friend of the show.
Evan Aubrey, and who's that next to me? Oh, I'm Ian Davis, the
Oh my God.
Ian Davis of the show. I can't put it together. I can't.
Ian unfortunately couldn't be with us this week. He has to do a musical, so he's busy rehearsing for that or something. But he's with us in spirit. And this is quite the week to be out from I Choose You, because I don't know
That's true.
But I don't know what you guys were doing, but it was Sunday morning. I was house sitting, and the cat in the house woke me up at 7 a.m. on Sunday
To tell you the good news?
No, it was like, give me food, and I was like, whatever. And then I put food in its bowl, and then I went back to my bed, and then I was idly scrolling Twitter. And people were like, oh, the Pokemon thing is happening. And I was like, yeah, they'll probably just announce DLC for Arceus or whatever. And No. Fucking the Pokemon company went out and did it. Gen 9 coming out this year, which is crazy to me. There's too many video games coming out this year.
Yeah.
I can't keep track of them all. Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet. Coming to a Switch near you this holiday season. Ben, how did you find out about Gen 9?
I was sleeping also, and I received a large amount of text messages
there were
to
like
the
30.
one and only I Choose You group chat, and saw them and was like, whoa, that's cool. And then I went back to sleep.
You're like, oh man, there's a weed cat. Nice.
I honestly didn't even think about it until later in the day, and then I saw some people like sharing it, and I was like, "Spriga Gatito, I love you." What is it? Spriga Gatito?
Sprigatito?
Spirigatito
Spirigatito
is what it's called.
Okay.
Evan, where were you when Gen 9 were announced? Were you also in bed?
I was in bed and like getting ready for the day, and then similarly my phone blew up because Jeremy and Ian were like all on top of it. And
at like 6 a.m.
I was very happily surprised by a duck with a sweet hairdo.
Is it its hair or is it its hat?
I hope it's its hair. I hope the hair evolves as it evolves.
It gets a bigger and bigger hat.
Oh, that too.
A hair hat. Let's do basically there's two main things. We got the starters. We got 3 starters. We got the grass type, which is Spirigatito. We got the fire type, which is Fuecoco. And we got the water type, which is Quaxley. First impressions, who you jiving with?
I could either go Quaxley or Fuecoco. I've always been like a water
really
or
cute.
fire type. I've never really chosen the grass route. It's just me. It's just who I am. Nothing against a cute cat, but
You're an Aquarius. You're volatile.
That's true.
You're either hot or you're cold.
That's true.
You're not in the middle.
Man,
You're real pink on this one. You're hot and you're cold. You're yes and you're no.
I am yes and no.
That's not pink. That's Katy Perry.
Wait, what? Is that? Oh, don't correct me. No, whatever.
Okay.
How about you, Ben?
I think they're all really cute. I feel like on further reflection was like thinking about them. It's so weird when they make a really good Pokemon because you're like, it looks kind of familiar. Like it looks like it already exists somewhere else, but it's not. And you're like, oh shit. Like it is different, but it feels like it should already be
good
here.
enough
like
to not just be a fake mon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like really torn. I feel like I just have to go with Spirigatito, just because like I love my cat, and that cat's so freaking cute. Oh my god!
I
Its
hope
eyes.
I was reading a thing on Twitter of like people reacting to it, and they're like, "Please, for the love
Yeah.
of God, don't make it evolve into a person with a cat head."
Yeah, people really want all four paws on the ground, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I would also like all four paws to stay on the ground.
Hashtag all four paws.
Hashtag all four paws.
Let's start a
One for
movement.
paws and all for one.
Yes. Let's start. I think it's probably gonna stand up on its fucking hind legs and like do backflips or whatever.
Oh
Don't say
man,
that, Jeremy. But I also have to say that so Quaxley is cute, but it makes me think of Yaxley from Harry Potter, so I like it a little bit less.
Oh,
and then Fuecoco, whew, man, I love a good gator, okay? I love a good totodile. I love a good whatever the ground type crocodile one is. That one's really freaking cute. This one's like a dinosaur crocodile thing, like Totodile was. Like, whew.
Yeah. So I'm leaning. When I immediately looked at them, I was like, that duck's wearing a hat. That's very funny. And I was leaning towards that. But on like thinking about it more, actually, I like them all for different reasons.
yeah.
I like that. Fuecoco has like tiny dinosaur arms that are like around its stomach, and its mouth is as big as its face, and so it's like rah rah. It's like a Pez dispenser kind of situation. And I like that Spirigatito is just like is basically a regular cat kind of situation.
It most reminded me of like a Neopet.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's just like a cat, but it's green, which is, fine and enjoyable. So I'm still probably leaning Quaxley. I hope it evolves I just hope it evolves into Donald Duck, because it's already like 60% of the way there to a Donald
It's
Duck
like
situation.
It's like a Huey right now.
It is like
It
a
is.
Huey.
And then the middle stage needs to be Donald, and then the final stage is Scrooge McDuck.
Yes.
Yes.
Diving into those gold coins.
I mean, that's kind of like an ocean that it could sail upon. Okay, well, this leads to my second main talking point about Scarlet and Violet, which is that while not officially announced as what its stand-in for, the new region is 100% confirmed to be based on Spain.
Right.
And so I was thinking like this based on since it's going the like Spanish Mediterranean, maybe it's like a sailor kind of situation. The duck, going across the Mediterranean, that deal. And that's what I'm basing it on. But more importantly, I'm going to Spain later this year. So when I come back, I'm going to have an accent, and I'm going to be like, oh, they're getting this all wrong. There's not enough paella in this video game or whatever.
Whoever was there was someone at Game Freak who heard this show and was like, oh man, I used to love all of those times when Jeremy would talk about his trip to China
Yes.
and all the food that Jeremy ate on his trip to China. Wow, bring it back, okay? And then they were like, what if we did a game set in Spain? I know Jeremy A. Zeelik's going to Spain in the year 2022, and I really need some of that hot international travel goss from the Z-Man.
Yeah.
So this was a gift, a real layup for you.
Yeah,
I feel
Prepare
like
for some Spanish foods later on this season.
Yeah.
exactly.
We're gonna talk about some jamon iberica, some olives. Gonna stay up
Oh,
late
man.
into the night at a club in Madrid. Which starter Pokemon hits the clubs every night? It has to be what, Fuecoco, right?
Or
Fuecoco.
Quaxley. He's got the
Quaxley.
moves.
Yeah. Spirigatito is like stay at home.
Yes.
And like chill.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's
Not
funny?
hitting the
What's funny
clubs.
is that once it was revealed as Spain, I once again thought it was funny that Spirigatito is just Spanish, basically. Well, it's not just Spanish, but it's spirit and then gatito, which is literally little cat. So it's like a little spirit cat.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, now, again, this is based on nothing but that piece of information, that its evolutions, it might evolve perhaps into like a ghost type or maybe a fairy type or something like that.
That'd be pretty cool.
That has some sort of supernatural element as a part of it.
I would be really into that.
Are there many ghost grass types around at the moment?
There is there's the Rowlet.
That's
line.
right.
Yes, and Pumpkaboo, I believe.
Oh
is,
yeah, that's true.
Ghosty
and grass.
vegetables.
Yes. So I think that's definitely a possibility. Fuecoco is going by the investigation there. Obviously, the Fue, it's a parody of Fuego, of course, which means fire. It's Fueco. But Coco, I can't tell if it refers to chocolate, maybe
Fire
coconuts.
chocolate Pokemon.
Yeah, the fire chocolate Pokemon. Maybe it's like a fire ground type or rock type kind of situation.
Ooh.
I have no idea off the top of my head. But I don't. Maybe they introduced the chocolate type in this.
I hope so.
In this.
Oh, you better believe
Then
it.
they're just spoon feeding us content.
Yes.
They were like, wow, I love that episode of I Choose You where they talked about eating vanilla ice cream.
Yes.
You know what would go well? Yeah.
some hot chocolate, if you know what I mean. Quaxley, I can't really. It doesn't really have like its name is fun, but it's mostly like it makes a quack sound because it's a duck.
It moistly makes a quack.
Wait, did you
Sorry.
say moist?
A
Wait,
moist quack or
Because it's
moist
a water
quack?
type.
okay. Okay, do you like when it rains? You're like, it's quite moistly out today.
It's moistly cloudy.
Yes. Now you just sound like an old timey weather reporter. It's moistly cloudy today in New York, kind of situation. So we'll see. It's probably going to be like what, water fighting type or something, because it's like old timey sea captain or whatever. And it has. I hope its final evolution is Donald Duck, and it has like Popeye arms, like really thick forearms.
Just totally ripped.
Yes.
Or maybe it's Water Ghost, and the final evolution is like a Flying Dutchman kind of guy.
Okay.
So when I originally saw the picture, it has the little like chest fluff or whatever. I thought that was a chain, and I thought it was gonna get like a gold chain.
As a baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it would just get big. The chain would just also evolving.
Yeah, how low does it go?
Yeah.
Getting more and more intricate and heavy.
All the way to the flow.
I guess the last thing I want to point out is the trainer models. You have a dumb hat when you start. It's like a really big hat.
I'm just happy that they were only on the chibi kick for the reboot and not like continuing that, because I was not a huge fan, but definitely like seeing the trailer, I was like, okay, I can get into this.
Yeah. I think the last thing that maybe we should wait until we get Ian back on this program, but do we want to talk about the food possibilities of these starters?
Let's give it a week so he can come back. This is like an elephant in the room situation. We have to address it.
That we can talk about cooking and eating Pokemon all day long.
Yeah, and
for many years to come, perhaps.
Yes. In 2025, when we get to Gen 9, we will have plenty of opportunity to continue on our current trajectory. But until then, Scarlet and Violet, what do you think the colors refer to? Is it like painting, flowers? Like, it's one of the first in a while where they're like not opposites, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I think reds and purples are kind of like a big thing in just the Spanish region anyway. So it all kind of like ties in that way.
Yeah.
Maybe they're like opposing lords and like families, royal families.
Yes, it's like the battling houses of Spain, and you have to arrange a marriage so that the peninsula can stay unified. And then, but oops, oops, you're out of heirs in the early 18th century, and you accidentally trigger the War of Spanish Succession.
I did see a really good meme that was like, I don't know. It was like they had made like a Photoshop like team, like, Team Rocket or whatever, but it was like Team Inquisitor.
Oh yes,
with the Spanish Inquisition, which is funny hundreds of years now, but a little bit less funny at the time.
Yeah, well, look, Ben,
but no one expected it. That's for sure.
Yes.
No.
Look, it's fun. Look, it's bad. We can all admit that. I mean, there's nothing really good about it, but it is funny now to think about conceptually as a thing to put in your a joke.
let's just say that like Monty Python made it funny, I
Yes,
guess.
right.
It's more of a meme than it's like a real historical figure or like, you know, event. in our world. So that's why it works. But yeah.
So what Spanish things do we want in this game? Do we want like Christopher Columbus Pokemon? Do we want like a bullfight?
No, absolutely not.
I definitely want like there to be, you know, you're in a ring with a Tauros or something, and you're like Olay, or you're running with a lot of them, right?
Yes.
Oh, that could be a fun like plot point.
Yeah. They let all these Tauros out in the streets, and you gotta like
There's like a
catch them all.
stampede.
Yeah.
I hope there's like an NPC that's like, you know, trying to like write the next great American novel, the next great Unovan novel.
Yes.
And is like, you know, bumming around from I don't know. I can't even think of like fake Spain names. They just sound kind of racist. But
Bet you could just make up some Spanish.
He would when I was in Spain, Jeremy. I'm just going to start it off right now. When I was in Spain, I went to the oldest restaurant in the world, and that was actually his favorite hangout spot.
Ernest Hemingway.
Oh,
If Ernest Hemingway was a Pokemon, he would definitely. It's like I guess he would be a water type because he drank so much. You know what I'm saying?
For whom the weeping bell tolls.
Yes.
Ooh, yes.
A farewell.
The old Mon
to...
in the sea.
Yes.
I've run out of Hemingway not titles. That's all I know.
I could look, a farewell to arms, but I can't think of anything to that. I hope there's like one of the Pokemon is a guitar, and it's like a flamenco guitar.
Ooh.
And
What if it's a flamingo playing a guitar?
Yes.
Ooh. I think there already is like a bird Pokemon that has like a flamenco dress or something.
Oh yeah, something kind of like.
Are you thinking of Halucha?
But that would be cool. No, I'm thinking of something that was in the Sun and Moon games. It was like a bird, but it had like a dress. It was like it had like a dance quality, like, you know, special.
Okay, but what if it's What if it's not what if it's just a guitar that like has
It's
eyes?
Oricorio was that bird.
Oricorio. Okay, yeah.
So what if it was?
I expect
just
some
like,
flamenco Oricorios.
What if it's just like a guitar with a face on it? How'd you?
Ooh, man. Guitars with faces usually don't end up looking too good. I just have to say.
How do we eat that?
Does this This is.
How do we eat that? Is the real question.
Yeah.
Ben, do you see a lot of guitars with faces? Is this an issue in your day-to-day life?
Not in my day-to-day life, but I don't exactly know where, but I can imagine a couple cartoon guitars in my head, and they just don't look good. So I don't know how they'll make it happen. They could. What I'm kind of thinking in terms of musical instruments that could be kind of fun is like a kind of clam water-based Pokemon that's like castanets.
Clamstanet. There you go. You done. Fucking send
That's
me
a free
check,
one game for you.
Pokemon Company.
It's just like a clam with googly eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, what else do I want to slap some Google? So, like, in, like, the trailer, you could see the Sagrada Familia as, like, the Pokemon League or something, which is funny. It's like, here's a piece of modernist architecture that's still not finished, and we're gonna fucking throw Pokemon in it, and they're gonna fucking battle, baby. Maybe they can do, like, some, like, Roman centurions, kind of like it's like Gladiator, because, like, in the movie Gladiator, Russell Crowe is from Spain. So maybe they'll have like a gladiator Pokemon or something like that. What else happens in Spain?
Yeah, are we gonna fight some NPCs to the death? Is that while everyone watches?
Yeah. Maybe there's like a spaghetti western because those were all like shot in Spain, so they're like it's like a good, the bad, and the ugly kind of thing where it's like a chili pepper with a mustache or something. I don't know.
Oh
my god. Whew.
Getting into dangerous collar pulling territory.
Yes.
Yeah. Just take the Castanets one Pokemon Company and move on. We can. We don't need to. I do hope that there's maybe like a sort of like referenced like neighboring region that's like really close to Kalos, and it's kind of like the Basque kind of like area of Spain. That would be kind of cool as like a reference.
That'd be neat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, someone was like, "Oh, they're cutting this region out," but so the north west corner of Spain, like that chunk of Spain that's above Portugal is called Galicia, and it's interesting because it's like Celtic, so it has more in common with like Ireland and Scotland than it does with the rest of the immediate Iberian Peninsula. So like maybe we could throw a little bit of like Celtic magic in that corner, that kind of situation as well.
The last thing that I'll mention on this is that Pokemaniac Chris actually wrote up a really interesting post about Scarlet and Violet, and kind of like broke down a lot of things. One thing that he mentioned is that it's possible that this could be the first Portuguese translated Pokemon game.
Oh, neat. That's cool.
Since it will be like in Iberia, and
I know I would hope they would.
Probably.
Maybe I'm not that surprised because there's a lot of languages, but I would assume that I would be wrong because that's obviously not the case, that because of not just Portugal but South America, that there would be a decent imperative to translate it into Portuguese. Though I imagine the difference between Latin America and Portuguese and Portuguese is substantial.
Right.
But who knows? So those are immediate. Whoa! Almost dropped my mic. Apologies to the listeners at home.
Ooh, blowing out the
amateur
eardrums.
hour over here.
Woo! Yeah, so I've got some cords dangling, which is not great, but it's my bad. Apologies. I might cut this out. But all right, that's the reaction part of the show. The muse. We have a name for that. Now let's move on to the main section of the show. Here on I Choose You, each week we randomly select a new Pokemon to cook and eat. We discuss the recipes amongst ourselves and decide who is the winner-mon. We're going through Gen 5 right now, and this week we're talking about cooking and eating Eelektrik. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Don't overthink
it.
Well, here's the thing, is that it's like electric with another E in front of it. But when you pronounce electric, it's like Eelektrik, right? Yeah, you got that like "la" in there. But when you say Eelektrik, it really trips me up when I'm looking at it.
You know what's even more frustrating than that is that the not the Pokemon type, because it's electric type or whatever, but it is the Elefish Pokemon.
Yes,
which is just there is no such thing as an Elefish. I have to say.
Yeah. What?
They could have just called it the fucking eelfish Pokemon, though. Maybe it's evolution.
They could have called it the eel Pokemon.
Yes, they could have just called it the eel Pokemon.
This seems like one of those Wikipedia entries that hadn't been checked. Someone just wrote it in there.
Elefish. Yeah.
Seems right.
Also, that makes it sound like it's an elephant fish.
Yeah. What?
A lot of wrong things happening with that.
Pokemon Company, cut me a check. We will solve this problem here on I Choose You.
It kind of reminds me also of the episode we did about Seal. Not the recording artist Seal.
No,
but,
not
the Pokemon Seal.
Not this Pokemon wouldn't record a chart-topping number for a Batman movie like Seal did.
It's just the regular word for that animal, except like spelled with one letter different.
It's slightly different. It's technically different, the best kind of different. I was the winner last week, so I'm gonna start this off. So we talk a lot about being dynamic with the Pokemon that we use. We talk about the whole hog kind of situation. I'm not gonna use the whole Eelektrik because it seems kind of hard to work with, but I have an idea that I can use multiple parts of it in an exciting manner. Okay. So in the Pokedex entries, it mentions that it has electricity generating organs inside of it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get it and we're gonna shuck those out of there. We're gonna zip them out. And we're gonna dry the electricity producing organs, and then until they're nice and kind of experience.
Just turn to dust when you touch them.
Exactly. And we're going to then crumple those up into a nice fine powder, maybe put it in some baby, Ziploc bags kind of situation. and store that in a cool, dry place for a little while. And you might be saying, Jeremy, what are you doing this time? You know what? I'm kind of repeating a recipe.
Heaven forbid.
Because recently, and this is the thing, this is a recent thing. Recently, I did Sour Patch Kids, right? As kind of a thing. We're making...
You did them.
Yeah,
I see. For some reason, when you said that, I thought you meant that you had some Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, each someone else like, I did these kids. But I'm gonna make something slightly different. But we are gonna make sour gummy. But the dusted up electric organ is going to be our sour gummy substance. But we're not done with the electric yet. So what we're gonna do is, you notice we're gonna get another one. You notice how it has kind of like it's like a tube, right?
Oh, I know where this is going.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stretch it. It's dead. We're gonna stretch it out. We're gonna stick like a nice little pole in the center, and we're gonna get our gummy material made with the electric one, and we're gonna pour it in there, and we're gonna let it set. And then when the gummy's done setting, we're gonna pull it out, and what we got is an electric sour straw. And we're going to put that in a soda can and drink some soda with it at a football game.
Oh,
hey,
no.
I don't know. Like, this is one of those things where, you know, a lot of our, you know, very new medicine, for example, is made out of like bugs, right? And no one bats an eye. No one says anything. Like, we don't know. It's like ignorance is bliss. Like,
yes,
your sour straws are made out of eels. Like, no one needs to really know.
Yes.
They're not made of eels. They're molded from eels.
Well, and they're made of
eel organs.
And they're made... I'm a little bit more okay with that.
These are not vegetarian.
No.
So, I was tracking with you 100% through the whole drying out, using the electric dust for sour dust. Like, that makes sense. But, you're gonna use the dried the limp husk of this eel,
because my
as a mold for a candy straw.
Yes, because these electric straws, Ben, they shock your mouth, and they're gonna kind of look like an electric.
That doesn't explain it.
They're gonna look like it, and they're kind of like a novelty. Because they're so long, so you're like, oh, it's 3 feet of sour straw. You and your friends can share, and you like each like break off a piece and drink a soda with it.
You could fit an entire soda in 3 feet of straw. Like if you just kept inhaling, you would get the entire thing in the length of the straw.
It's like it's like fruit by the foot, and you love that.
Well, but okay, so when you mold candy, usually it's not with an organic substance, right? I mean, like, you're dealing with plastics and metals.
Okay,
so that's bad for the environment, Ben. This just biodegrades.
Okay, Ben, how about you feel this? You get your electric, you pour some plaster all over it, you make a perfect mold of it, you take it out. You fill it with metal, and then you've got a metal electric mold that you can fill in.
This is the thing, is I know that you've already tried retconning this. So like if you had led with just like you're gonna make these sour punch straw like candy straws, but make them look like electric, I would be a little bit more. I would be on board, quite honestly. But now I know that you're just another fucking capitalist trying to squeeze as many candy fillings out of the like smallest amount of eels that you can get your grubby little hands on. You've perfected it to where you're like every electric carcass gets 20 candy molds.
Yeah, give me so many. I love eels. Give me so many eels.
Nice. Well, I'm all about sour punch straws. That was a favorite of mine growing up.
So I do have a question. Have you actually drank a soda through a sour punch straw?
I did as a child. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think I did, mostly because I thought, and this is a weird thing as a child to think, I was like, that's gonna be too sweet. Says Jeremy.
You know what I did? I was the kid who went to the soda fountain and did a little bit of everything and then sucked it down with a sour punch straw.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Your teeth are loving that.
Yeah.
And Jeremy, I can tell you as a almost 26-year-old person that just got 5 cavities in my mouth that it wasn't too sweet, and you didn't regret anything.
Did you go to the dentist and they're like, I see you've been hitting the Sour Patch straws recently.
Exactly. They knew exactly what I was doing, or had been doing for the last 26 years of my life.
Okay, cool. I went to the dentist recently, and the person was like, "You should floss more," and then that was the extent.
That's what they told me.
They always just guilt you into flossing.
That's the only thing. I feel like that's and I don't want to be like, "Oh, I didn't have any other problems," but that was literally the only thing the dentist said. It was like, "Teeth look good, but you should probably floss more," and I was like, "Okay, I guess so."
Okay. I you can flaunt your perfect teeth privilege here.
Yeah,
it's not
I'm like that guy from the fucking Fairly Odd Parents. When I go to the
Chip Skylark.
Yes. When I go to the dentist was always like, "I love your teeth," and then he leaves, and that's all I see of him. He's there for like 3 minutes.
I'm sick of having this conversation, honestly.
on.
Even though I brought it up,
Yes.
the whole dentist thing. One thing that I was gonna add to this sucking soda out of candy things conversation is have you ever pulled this move with a red vine? Because I've done that a couple times.
Absolutely.
I think I have. I always think the
A little bit less intense than the Sour Punch straws.
I think the that like dusting on a Sour Punch straw is like such. It's like such intense like candy experience that it always like put me off a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's like just so much candy material in one kind of sitting. Because you got the sour dust and you got the soda going on.
I totally forgot to tell you guys this, but remember when we talked about I think it was in season 4, I did a recipe that was sour spaghetti, like sour gummy spaghetti. I have some sour spaghetti in my house right now.
Wait, seriously?
I have a bag of sour spaghetti in my house.
Is it gummies or is it like normal?
They're gummies. Yeah, it's just the same Sour Punch straw consistency, except they're not hollow. Yeah.
Well, I will say, Ben, I wasn't thinking of that. I wasn't trying to steal your recipe. If that makes you feel better.
I do feel better now.
Thank you. Well, Ben, with that newfound confidence, why don't you let us know what your recipe is this week?
Okay, I will. So for my recipe, I was a little bit puzzled with what to do here. And I know that it's an eel, like it's in the name, but it does look more like a lamprey.
It does look like a lamprey.
It does.
You know what's funny is that they could have gotten a good like electric pun out of lamprey. You know what I'm saying?
They could have.
Like
they really could have.
Like lamprey gun or something, and it's like
it's in the name, lamp.
Yeah, I know.
Like it's in the name.
I do love lamp.
Exactly, and I love lamprey. This week on I Choose You.
Pokemon famous for sitting in toilets and biting your butt.
Well, but do you know what it's also famous for?
What is it also famous for, Ben?
It's also famous for French delicacies.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
Medieval French delicacies. And delicacies that are so good, you might even lose your life.
Oh.
Such as on the date well, actually, I don't know if I don't think I have a date.
Just give us a century.
I have the Middle Ages. I found this article on the Huffington Post that is about how to eat lampreys, the most hideous fish in the world, quote unquote. In the beginning of this article, they start with a little fun anecdote that I gravitated towards, which is eating sea lampreys have been a French delicacy since the Middle Ages. King Henry I of England is said to have died from a surfeit of lampreys after eating so many.
Oh, he ate so many. He's like, oh shit, this is so good, and then he just like he exploded. It's like it's like Monty Python, where it's like the guy who eats so much that he explodes.
Thank you so much for failing the exact time it took me to find the other article that I found about this very story, because I had those exact same questions. So I will read to you from this website called oworm.com, which is the only place. It's the only place that I could find this Middle Ages lamprey recipe that supposedly killed King Henry I of England. The article goes like this. Lampreys were enjoyed by many upper-class Europeans during the Middle Ages, especially during Lent, due to its meaty taste and texture. King Henry I of England was one of the nobles that greatly enjoyed lampreys. However, King Henry had a heart condition, and thus a physician had repeatedly warned Henry to refrain from consuming lampreys, as the fattiness of the fish could be harmful to his health. Unfortunately, King Henry completely ignored his advice and continued consumption of lampreys, which eventually led to his death on December the 1st, 1135. I do have a date. Cause of death, surfeit of lampreys. So then they go on to give me this recipe, which basically is you're going to roast your eelektrik kind of separately. It says you can do it on a spit over an open fire, I'm assuming they're thinking. I think we don't have to go quite as medieval on this one as these guys want to. I think we can just roast it in the old oven. But then in addition, but before that, we need to like bleed it out, which is kind of the unfortunate part. So you're going to want to like clean off your eelektrik and get as much blood out of it as you can possibly get. After that, you're just going to like boil it and then put it in the oven to roast.
Okay. I thought you were going to say boil it, mash it, stick it in a
Stick it in a stew, yeah.
No. Please don't. That's a completely other recipe. You're going to kill more people than you are intending with that one. So, yeah, so the lamprey is roasted, but then you're going to make a sauce. And the way that you make the sauce is you get some, you like cook some onions on a stove in a pot of wine or water. So I'm going to go with the wine just so it gets richer.
Yeah.
You're going to add cinnamon and vinegar, parsley, pepper, and then the blood from the eelektrik that you collected.
Ooh.
And then you're going to boil it all down, and it gets really thick. And you're going to add ginger and some salt and a little saffron to it. And then that's the sauce. And then you, just to plate it, get your like roasted lamp or eelektrik, and then pour the sauce over it and serve it to the most noble royalty around.
So, looking it up, it says like it's fine to eat after you cut the head off. So I guess the head is what the most poisonous part is. So maybe that's what killed him. He like just ate the whole thing.
Well, I think it's because lampreys have like fucked up mouths that have like a bazillion teeth in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're real screwed up.
That's kind of terrifying.
But the thing that I was finding is that, yeah, lamprey, once you've cut off the head, is actually like a very good meaty fish.
Right.
And lamprey pie is I actually knew about lamprey pie not because before I realized what a lamprey looked like, just because I heard it referenced. So there's that. The only other thing that I could find that's kind of similar is I found this video of these people who have a YouTube channel where they like, cook stuff. And what they do is they went to like some, I forget, it was like some Nordic country, and we're like, oh, these fishermen love lamprey and they eat it all the time. We're going to show them this medieval style way of eating them with the blood and everything. And they basically like made it for them, and everyone was just kind of like, yeah, this is okay. Like
unimpressed.
Yeah. So that's what I have for you is a surfeit of eelektrik, a meal fit to die for.
Yes.
And I did want to I didn't really do a good job of setting this up, but I wanted to emphasize that there is a trick at the end of this meal.
Is this like one weird trick?
Yeah, exactly. And that trick is that you die.
Oh,
so
if you want to overturn a monarchy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the greatest trick of all.
Ben, I was looking at the lamprey Wikipedia page, and it also mentions that on the coronation day of Queen Elizabeth II, they ate a lamprey pie.
Oh,
there you
didn't
go.
they learn?
I mean, she's still alive and kicking, so maybe it's really all you need is a nice dosing of lamprey.
Yeah. So that's my recipe.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
All right. Evan, lay it on us.
So I went more eel because I honestly forgot lampreys were a fish until you brought it up in this episode. It's been a while. But yeah, thanks for making me look that up and be terrified. This I'm going for a classic Italian dish this evening of Neapolitan stewed eel or stewed eelektrik, if you will. So what? And it's a basically a tomato-y based fish dish. So what you're gonna do is you get a bunch of garlic and onion and chop that all up and saute it, get those aromatics going. And you're going to mash that all up with some tomatoes into your big pot there. And then you're going to add a few sprigs of like basil and parsley and stuff. And you're going to chop up your eelektrik into nice, like manageable bite-sized pieces. And then cook that in your tomato, base that you've got going on. You add 2 glasses of white wine to it just to kind of give it some zest. Let that kind of evaporate and cook off for a little bit. And then you just cook that together for like 10 minutes, serve with some good old slices of your favorite baguette or whatever it is. And there you go. Some nice stewed eel.
So you said this is Neapolitan, right?
Right.
Does it come in 3 flavors?
No, just Italian.
Okay. But imagine you opened up like a soup pot and it was perfectly like segmented into 3 different soups.
Chocolate soup.
Well, I'm not saying it was chocolate flavored. I'm just saying it's like 3 different colors of soup in one pot.
Oh, that would be a little off-putting. You've got. If I'm looking at the eelektrik, you've got blue, and you've got a little bit of red, and you've got some white. That would be not a super appetizing dish, but interesting.
I feel like I've only ever had eel in a sushi context.
Yes,
I have too. I've never had it cooked. I've only ever had it in sushi as well.
I know you can just eat it. Like, none of us did like that specifically, where it's like, here's a dish based on like eel, like specifically. But
well, this one, Evan's.
Yes, but I'm saying like. But it's not like, we're gonna dig deep in that kind of situation,
right?
I imagine it. I mean, I imagine it has like a fishy taste, but I'm also imagining kind of buttery for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah,
why.
when it's cooked, I feel like it's kind of like it almost like in this dish of stewed eel, it almost looks like halibut or something.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
I did read because I did like immediately look up like electric eel. And the first thing I could find is that
MGMT.
Yeah. I listened to that song for a second.
Yeah.
And then I actually went on with the rest of my Google search. But they were saying that a lot of people don't eat electric eels, those specific eels, because they have those organs that Jeremy was talking about.
Right.
Yeah, the sour patch, the sour straw organ, if you will.
Stay away from the forbidden sour dust.
Yes.
Yeah. The temptation is too great, so people don't do it.
Ben, would you if you could eat the electric organ, would you?
I mean,
the ultimate warhead.
I don't know. I would like to say just for like the pure shock value, but the idea of a fish organ, like just thinking about what passes in and out of that, doesn't sound good. Even
when people are like, oh, those certain fish where you like eat the entire thing, like the eyes and everything, I'm like, no, not for me.
Yeah. Like I know where that fish has been.
It's the ocean.
Ocean, yeah.
It's been in the ocean the whole time.
Dirty ocean.
Why would I want that?
Yeah, I mean, fish are filled with like mercury these days, that kind of business.
Exactly.
Well, let us review our recipes. From me, we have Eelektrik sour straws. From Ben, we have Eelektrik souffle. Is that what you said?
Surfeit
I don't-
of Eelektrik.
Yes. And from Evan, we have an Eelektrik Neapolitan. So vote. And Ben, do you know who the winner mon is?
I know exactly who the winner is. It's you, Jeremy.
Whoa! That means you
No
voted
disputed.
for me.
That means that both of us voted for you, Jeremy.
Wow.
Aren't you
Whoa.
happy?
Oh, that's true. It would have been
It's
a
a lot.
tie otherwise, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like if, yeah.
Jeremy voted for me. So
Sorry, Evan.
That's okay. That's all right.
I liked Ben's story. I'm always.
I did too.
He was
You
talking
weave
in
a
the
good
pre-show
tale.
about how people listen to this program to get like fun tidbits about culinary history, and I think that's true. That's why I like to bill myself as the Alton Brown of the group kind of situation.
Speaking of stories, I did want to mention this because I did tell Evan about this last night, but Jeremy missed the bus on this one. I think it's funny and appropriate for this program, which is that I was eating at a ramen restaurant over this past weekend.
Wait, you're eating a ramen restaurant? I thought you said a ramen
Yeah.
restaurant for a second. I was like,
Yeah.
Red Robin.
Yum.
I was eating at the ramen restaurant, red.
Yeah.
And we were eating, and the power went out on like the whole block, and it didn't come back for the whole time that we were there. So we just like were eating ramen in the dark, which was an interesting experience. And it was like I don't know. At first, it was a little bit scary. Then it was just kind of funny. And but it made me think like, and then someone was like, oh, there's like a restaurant, like some fancy restaurant where like they're actually like it is dark once you like serve the food, so that like you don't. It's like a sensory experience, so you like taste it
Oh
differently.
yeah, and all the waiters are actually blind.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, interesting.
Yeah. So Ben,
but
you're
it
not.
made
You're
me
not.
wonder.
Yes.
It made me wonder what foods you would prefer maybe to eat, like
In the dark.
without seeing it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
This just reminds me of that one Fall Out Boy song. So maybe I walk into this restaurant, it's like, in the dark. So,
Oh, okay, yeah.
I
Yeah.
would eat, let's say, ice cream, and I have to guess what flavor it is. So, like, the
Oh.
people come to me and they're like, here's some ice cream. And I was like, delicious. Is this a raspberry? And they're like, no, it's chocolate. And I was like, oh, damn, roasted.
I was gonna say something that's like inconsequential for me to just like pick up with my hands and shove it in my mouth. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to be using delicate silverware and like accidentally stab my face because I don't know where I'm putting my fork.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then everyone turns on the lights and it's just like a slop fest and they're all just covered in food.
Yeah, I guess something handheld would give you the most control, right? Because you know exactly, you can feel it.
Right.
You know, like a taco or a burrito maybe is like preferred.
I don't know if it's preferred. Those things will like all the filling is just going to fall out and you won't be able to see it.
Taco's going to be a tough one because you got to really navigate that. Oh yeah, what if all your
Oh, that's true.
What if you're
That's true.
filling? You're just got a lap full of filling.
Yeah, you
gonna
just
eat
feel
that,
the
Ben?
juices running through your fingers and it's a whole experience.
What about this kebabs?
Yeah.
Like big pointy knives that you have to eat without looking at.
Yeah.
If they have food that lights up, that would be fun.
I guess finger food maybe, like snack food.
Yeah, give me a pig in a blanket or
Yeah.
Something like that.
A Hot Pocket.
Yeah, just
Yeah, let me go to this fancy conceptual restaurant and just serve me a Hot Pocket.
hell yeah, Totino's pizza rolls.
I guess like soup wouldn't inherently be a bad thing. It was just weird when it was ramen because there was still noodles in there too.
Yeah.
Like so there was big hunks of like stuff in there.
Right, you're
that
trying to
was,
fish
like-
out what else is in there before you just have broth
Yeah.
left.
Right. But like I guess hypothetically like a gazpacho maybe where it's the same consistency all the way through and then you wouldn't burn your mouth
Yeah.
either by like
Are you saying
know,
you don't
it's
want
not
like a
too
French
hot.
onion soup where you have like the crack through the bread on the top and like kind of work that in the dark to your mouth?
Did they say anything when the power went out, or were they just like everyone just continue eating like nothing happened?
Everyone just kind of kept going on. They didn't I was concerned at first that they wouldn't have like a way for people to like cash out or whatever. So
I
they
thought you
just
were going
have
to say
like,
they didn't have a way for people to leave.
Yeah, the door's locked shut.
nobody leaves until the power comes back on. No, they had it like on their phones and stuff. So they like, you know, we were able to pay for the, you know, food.
Also,
and
people could play
obviously,
with
like,
cold, hard cash.
I guess they could, but I think, yeah. Anyway, this place, they didn't seem too pressed, but it was really weird because all of the rest of the block was like out as well. So it was kind of spooky. So anyway, that was just a quick Divergent tale that I wanted to, not a tale from the Divergent series.
I was going to make the
YA
same
novels.
joke where I was like, oh, wow, we're a really hit YA series starring Shailene Woodley, former soon-to-be Mrs. Aaron Rodgers.
Really? Wow. Instead, let's run through a different maze of sorts to get to everyone's favorite segment of the show.
Yeah, welcome to that.
What a segue.
So, wait, I'm going to go back to that segue. Ben, did you get the Maze Runner and Divergent confused there?
Some might say that I'm simply referencing the YA pastiche.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. The Maze Runner movies, they're not good, but they're not bad. Like,
I've never seen them.
there's a little something there. It's not like, I wouldn't like say they're even like at like a Hunger Games level, but there's a little something there, especially the second one, the Scorch Trials. I would go on those Scorch Trials. All right.
Jeremy's little plug.
Yeah, you wrote in your questions to our email address, ichoosepod@gmail.com. That's ichewspod@gmail.com. Evan, can you read this email from Shaylee?
Shay, yes, I can. Shay says this is her their pig night recipe. Hey y'all, a delicious Southeast Asian inspired pig night recipe of sticky pig night bao buns. I've made this for my partner before, and he describes it as very edible. Okay. His deliciousness scale is inedible, edible, or very edible, with edible accounting for 95% of food. That's a pretty weighted scale.
Interesting.
We're going to cut the belly right off that pig night, cut it into small chunks, and throw it into a crock pot. Add a chopped oddish bulb, a head of minced garlic, a thumb of minced ginger, rice wine vinegar, and soy sauce. Cook that until the meat is fully cooked. Then drain the solids of the crock pot and add them to a hot cast iron pan to crisp up. When the pig night belly is fairly crisp, add a couple tablespoons of lemongrass paste, combi, honey, and soy sauce, cooking until the pig night belly is sticky and evenly coated. Grab some freshly steamed bao buns or make your own. Open that bun and carefully layer the sticky pig night belly into it and top with cilantro and chopped cashews. Enjoy.
Excellent.
I have to say, this sounds more than very edible. This sounds
This is my kind of food right here.
very delicious.
I could eat like 20 of them if I wanted to.
What's stopping you, Jeremy?
Only your desire.
Yeah. And that's it for the emails.
Should
Yes.
I read this tweet thread from Pokemaniac Chris?
Yes. Ben, please read this tweet thread.
Okay. They tweeted at iChoosePod. Oh, look, it's Eelektrik. God, this thing is awful. Eelektrik is a lamprey, and real lampreys are not prettier than Eelektrik. They're basically a length of garden hose glued to a plunger head full of teeth. Wow, that's actually a very apt description.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's why Pokemaniac Chris gets paid the big bucks.
However, they are also, rumor has it, delicious. Lampreys were a delicacy of... Oh, no.
Is it just
Did
your
we
whole recipe?
Oh, no. No, but we did tread some of the same territory.
It's okay, Ben.
I didn't realize this. Lampreys were a delicacy of medieval, which they spell in that funny way, French cuisine, so much so that King Henry I of England supposedly died of eating a surfeit of lampreys, i.e., they were so good he just couldn't stop eating and kept stuffing himself until his fucking kidneys exploded or something. He had a heart condition, Chris. Full disclosure, I think modern historians mostly believe it was food poisoning that killed the poor bastard, but excessive lamprey consumption per se. but I think you'll agree my version is much funnier. Yeah, I would.
I will say
more accurate.
It sounds dying because of food poisoning sounds pretty bad. I've got to say.
Aren't you glad that you live in the modern era, Jeremy?
Yeah, where I just get food poisoning and I just hurl for 24 hours
You
straight.
just get over it.
Yes.
We even have several medieval lamprey recipes from the oldest surviving English cookbook, the 1467 Noble Boke-Off Cookery for a Prince Household or any other estately household, spelled in the Middle English or whatever. I don't remember what era this is. We can easily translate to cooking electric, or at least I can, so you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
God, Chris, I already fucking did. The battle continues. To back a fresh lamprey, quote unquote, we are instructed to first drown a live lamprey in red wine for our electric recipe. Even though we're in Unova, there's no excuse not to use a top shelf Sonoan Cherubi wine here. Then, quote, when he is dying, talk him out and put him in scalding water.
What I appreciate about Pokemania, Chris, is they really do their research.
Well, I think they...
I know.
Every time.
They have
know.
a degree in classics, so they really go hard on this kind of stuff.
Okay, speaking of in the middle of Pokemania Chris's recipe, I need to plug, and after already plugging Pokemania Chris's blog, I need to recommend again that you read his blog, because he wrote a full-on academic journal article about one of the areas in Arceus, a full-on archaeological study that you would normally get a grant to do research in some area for. He just wrote that shit. So
that's why they call him the Pokemaniac.
He is a Pokemon. He is maniacal over there with his typewriter. Anyway, okay. Enough. At this point, we skin and gut the lamprey, then boil it in salted water. Quote, in the same place within that ye may come.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe skip that step before deboning it. Absolutely not. The next step is some incomprehensible fucking Middle English bullshit about fingers, so we're going to skip that. There's also an extra step with Eelektrik, which is that as you're skinning, gutting, and deboning it, you have to make sure you remove the electrical glands on the sides of its body, as these can remain active after death and electrocute your diners. This would be bad. Next, we make a kind of medieval sauce called a galantine, which is made of red wine thickened with breadcrumbs. The noble Boke flavors its galantine with crushed raisins, vinegar, sugar, salt, and a bunch of spices, including cinnamon, ginger, and saffron. Wow. We literally got the exact same recipe. We arrived at the exact same place. Except this is actually very much well done.
Ben, don't sell yourself short. Yours was also well done.
Oh, thank you. We can use dried lilligant berries for the raisins, a splash of maractus vinegar, and some unknown Unovan spices to give this dish a bit of local flavor. Powdered larvesta horn for that cinnamon warmth. Ground crustle shell for dessert heat. And some fragrant floral sawsbuck horn. According to the noble Boke, we should next, quote, mack a large coffin of poured fleur and put thy lamprey therein. Which I think just means that we should coat it with flour and luke the oven to be hoot. Then just stick the Eelektrik in a pot and braise it in the sauce. Eelektrik is a naturally pretty rubbery Pokemon, so a long, slow braising will both tenderize it and allow the flavors of our rich galantine sauce to infuse the meat. It should have a little leftover electrical tang, but this is balanced by the warmth and fragrant spices. For a drink pairing, you should pour yourself a glass of Cherubi wine, or break out the superior absinthe if you're feeling really French. But there's also a new flavor of your favorite seltzer coming out soon, so I think we should end this with a cherry blossom LaCroix.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks so much for writing in, Pokemaniac Chris.
Damn.
I was going to read off the Discord, but it was mostly Pokemaniac Chris talking about where he got his recipe. So check it out if you wanted more insight into the process, the Pokemaniac process, if you will. Now we're going to pick next week Pokemon in a segment I like to call Pick-a-mon. Evan, can you randomly generate a number between 494 and 649?
How about 513?
513, you say. 513. 513 is Panseer. Now, we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
But it's very close to Simisage. So do you want to give me another number?
637.
637, you say. You say 637. I have to scroll a lot. Hold on. It's towards the bottom. 637 is going to be almost a legendary, but it's not. It's going to be okay. I've seen this. It's called Volcarona. It's a giant.
It's a bug
moth that looks like the sun.
Yeah, it's fire bug. Yeah.
So next week, send in your Volcarona recipes. It's got an unfortunate name for the world we live in, but maybe you could make it more like a Corona beer kind of situation.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I was thinking more of volcanoes.
I mean, you still can.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. Do we just have to pick another one now?
I think we're fine. Unless Ben, you want.
Oh, it's happening.
No.
All right.
We got to do it.
Send in your Volcarona recipes, and we'll be good.
This is a big ass bug.
It is.
Hell yeah. What? It's only 5 feet tall, Evan. What are you gonna do about it?
It's 100 pounds.
That is terrifying.
It's like if you saw Mothra.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing I know about Mothra is that she would be my best friend. So now let's do plugs. Do we do plugs before I tell people when the show is? It's kind of late. And
yes,
we do plugs.
Ben, plug.
I this week am. You can follow me at Ben C. Montoya on Twitter. You can also follow our good friend Ian Davis, who isn't here, on Instagram at Musician Davis.
Yep,
I believe
that's the one.
And then you can follow his photography business at Ian Reynolds Photography.
Ian Reynolds Photo.
Ian Reynolds Photo. But I would also recommend that you go to rescue.org, where you can donate to causes that are helping refugees all across the world, in Ukraine and Afghanistan and elsewhere, and make a donation there. You can also make a donation to the Kyiv Independent, which is a news source in Ukraine. So go ahead and do that. Follow all those people and donate and stuff.
Evan.
You can follow me on Twitter at _Van Aubrey, and then I will also just plug all of those same things. If you've got a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum to burn and you absolutely want to donate it to a good cause, that would be the place to do it. They've posted all of their addresses on Twitter, and I'll go ahead and retweet that so people can find it.
All right. I am Velocity Prime 1 on Twitter. You can follow me there. Mostly post pictures of I retweet Heathcliff comics and go to pictures of hikes that I've been on recently. And if that sounds appealing to you, you can follow me on Twitter at Velocity Prime 1. Also, check out my writing at the-avocado.org. It's got film, television, video games, all that kind of business. the-avocado.org. Jeremy Zelik. Those donation sites sound great, so check those out as well. Now, you've been listening to I Choose You, the podcast about cooking and eating Pokemon. You can find us on your favorite podcasting apps, including Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify, or your podcast catcher of choice. If you like our show, make sure to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to help us go up the ranks. If you want more I Choose You goodness, make sure you check out our social media pages. I Choose Pod on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can talk with fellow choosies, see our funny posts, all that kind of business. Maybe we can get in on a normal post and then talk about how we're a show about cooking and eating Pokemon, and then everyone's like, what? Why would you do that?
Hey, that's how we get listeners. That's
it is
hook, line, and sinker.
It is how we get listeners, and we've been doing it for 3 years, and it's
And what are we doing to celebrate 3 years, Jeremy?
Well, Ben, I was going to get to that, but let me finish the normal plug segment. But keep that in mind, listeners, for the next couple of minutes. Twitter. Okay, moving on. Next thing to plug is the Discord. Links are in the episode description and the social media pages. Make sure to head over there. Similar stuff, send in recipes, talk with fans, all that business. Lastly, the official website, ichooseyou.menu, which recently got updated. Thank you, Ben. To have a full episode archive and the official merchandise store where you can buy things like stickers, aprons, and pins. All that at ichooseyou.menu, which is designed by Evan Aubrey. Lastly, we're celebrating our 3-year anniversary this March. Not exactly when we started, because that would be this week, but in a few weeks. In fact, we're going to do it on St. Patty's Day. We're going to have a live stream where we're going to talk about cooking and eating Pokemon, off the cuff kind of situation. None of this post-production bullshit. I think we're doing it live. Isn't that right, Ben?
Yeah, but one thing that you could do to get really to help us have a really great show on that day is that we're going to do a voicemail Whalelord's Mail Horde. So you can record a voice memo on your phone and send it to us at ichoosepod@gmail.com.
Yes,
that's the one.
Yeah,
we'll listen to it live and react to it. You can include include a recipe if you wanted to, or you could just include your favorite moment of the show, when you started listening, any other sort of general I Choose You queries, comments, questions, concerns, and all the like.
Air your grievances.
See, I was just about to say, you got beef with us. Make sure we know it. All that and more is going to happen soon. So that's been the show. This has been I Choose You. Join us for a live stream on St. Patrick's Day, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be a fun time to be had by all. All right. For I Choose You, I've been your host and Alton Brown of the group, Jeremy Eelektrik.
I've been your friend on this show, Ben Montoya.
And Evan Aubrey.
And to all the listeners out there in Radioland, in a while, Totodile.
It's always hard when the recipe's new. Make a presupposition or just make a stew. But there's no month that we can't cook, so turn up the volume, put down that book. It's season 5. Let the pan sage roast, keep the Nilux alive. Make some tepid toast, so crack a cold one, now's the time. For cooking Pokemon and making rhymes. We're not always right or wrong, but you'll probably have some fun. It's win or lose based on the jokes you choose. The winner's within. It's a podcast called I Choose You. Ben, Evan, Jeremy, Andy, and Jew. Let the cooking